everybody, this is Gina Bear reporting to you for duty, and it's really hard to know where to start off with this video because this video has been a long time in the making. For those of you who have been following me on social media, you definitely know that I have been struggling a lot in the area that I live in, and I've been wanting to make this video a while to not only warn people but to show that sometimes Korea isn't all it's fluffed up to be in the K-dramas and in K-pop. I'm really relieved that today this is one of the last videos I will be filming here in this apartment. As you can see, it's pretty sparse behind me. I'm in the process of moving back to the United States, and I'm really looking forward to it. By the time you guys see this video, I will probably already have been back in the States. The reason why I've waited so long to release this video is because I'm afraid of what will happen to me if I speak my truth and tell people my experience and what happened to me. Also, please forgive me if I'm looking down here at my laptop. I wrote down everything I wanted to say so I can articulate clearly and productively what I want to do with this video. This video is going to be a long one, so grab a snack, grab a drink, and get ready because I have a lot to say. We're going to do a deep dive into the area that I was living in and why I believe it's so dangerous and why I believe that female foreign teachers should not be living in this area. Before I go on any further, for those of you that are just finding this video, my name is Gina. I have been living abroad for 8.5 years. 3 of those years were in Japan and 5.5 were in South Korea. Now obviously there were a lot of things that I liked about South Korea, which is why I stayed for so long. But the purpose of this video is to really, like I said before, shed light on what it's like not living in Seoul and the fact that I did encounter here and people treating me really badly just because I was different. I know some of you may be asking, so why are you living in this neighborhood to begin with? See, the thing is, my school, when I originally got there, the administration is different now, but the administration when I was there told me that if I wanted to have this job here in Hanam City, then I would have to live in the apartment that City Hall provided for me. This was like off the record and on the DL, even though in the GEPIC contract it clearly states that if I don't want to live in the housing unit that is provided to me, I will get a $400 a month stipend to help supplement the place of my choosing. However, this was not an option for me because the previous teacher had been relieved of her position, like they didn't renew her contract because she didn't want to live in this apartment in this area, and I don't blame her. Also, I didn't want to teach elementary school, so if I were to go somewhere in Seoul or if I were to go in some other part of Korea, I would be living very far away from the city, which is not something that I wanted to do. It was not an option for me. I lived in the countryside when I lived in Okinawa, and I just didn't want to repeat that experience. Also, just my personal preference, I don't like elementary school children. I know some people love them, but that's just not my personal preference to teach. I prefer teaching the older children, so that's another reason why I chose to stay in this area. And also another reason why I chose to stay in this area is that I truly enjoy working with my students. So when I got to Hanam City and I got to the middle school that I was teaching at, it was actually more of a relaxed environment because it was a lower level school. But even though it was lower level, of course I still put in 110% to my kids. And because it was also lower level, as a teacher I had more freedom to develop my own curriculum and teach what I wanted and what I thought was fun and what I thought the kids would enjoy. So for example, we did stuff like comic projects, arts and crafts, we cooked tacos, I taught them about Mexico, I taught them about different countries and cultures, we played games, and the kids really responded well to that. So when I was teaching class, they were hardly ever sleeping, and of course I had a good relationship and a good rapport with a lot of them. Now, like I said before, this area that I live in is quite poor, and as such these kids do come from very bad backgrounds and situations, and it's of no fault of their own. I had students who had come from orphanages. I had students who were under different aliases at my school because their mothers wanted to escape an abusive father. I had students who lived with their grandparents. I had students whose parents didn't want them. A lot of these kids, like I said, they come from really bad backgrounds and situations, and I felt that as a teacher and as a person, I could make an impact in these students' lives. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background about Hanam City. So this particular area that I was living in is actually quite conservative, and there are a lot of old people living here. Now, again, I lived in Hanam City, so Hanam-shi, not Hanam-dong, and this isn't to be confused with a neighborhood that is in Seoul. I did not live in Seoul. I lived in Gyeonggi-do, which is the province around Seoul. There are two parts of Hanam City. There's Old Hanam and New Hanam, and obviously you can guess which Hanam I lived in. I lived in Old Hanam. I also want to put out another disclaimer. I don't have any problems with people who are older, who have mental illness, or who are in very low income situations. It's not my place to judge. I don't know what happened to them in their lives that they're in this situation. It's probably not their fault, knowing how Korean society is. And sometimes they would take out their conservative values or their anger or their frustrations on me, and that made very dangerous situations for me in general. Here in Hanam City, you can really see the disparity between the very, very poor and the middle class and upper middle class. So I'm going to take you guys around my neighborhood so that you guys can see where I was living. Now, there are tons of love motels in front of my house. Love motels are pretty self-explanatory. You can rent out the rooms for, a few hours if you so choose, and then you can just go about your merry business. There are hanging ropes in the parking garage, so you can't really see who goes in and out, and it's really put there for maximum discretion, and you can't see the license plates either. I can tell you right now, I have been subject to 3 a.m. screaming matches because someone got caught cheating or there was a lover spat, and for whatever reason, they always come right behind my apartment. So my apartment's entrance is in a back alley, and they come and they scream, and I hear them, and I'm just like, don't y'all have anything better to do? Obviously not, because they're screaming in front of my apartment at 3 a.m. But those are just some of the things I had to deal with. Now, continuing on, let's keep going through the neighborhood. You can see that a lot of the houses are very old and crumbling, and there are bars over the windows, especially on the lower levels. Now, in my experience, I have lived in Mexico before, and in Mexico, a lot of houses have bars over the windows because it's to protect from vandalism, break-ins, and thieves. So that for me just tells me off the bat that there's already a high crime rate. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of older people live in the crumbling homes in this area, and they look very battered and in bad condition. Sadly, I talked about this in 25 More Things That No One Tells You About Korea, but South Korea has the highest amount of elderly people living below the poverty line. So this is a huge problem here in Korea, and it's very, very prevalent and very prominent just in the community that I live in. Like I said before, I constantly see older people with their big carts collecting trash just so they can get money to eat. Now, for 100 grams of trash, they only pay you 100 won, and that's like 10 cents. Can you imagine how much trash these old people have to collect just to be able to eat a meal for the day? And I see these people all the time in my neighborhood collecting trash. It's really, really, really heartbreaking. Also, there's a house here where I believe that the person is actually living in a storage container. I've seen a moped parked in front of the house, and I've seen someone go in and out. So I'm pretty sure that that is their place of residence. Now, the thing is, a lot of people don't realize these neighborhoods exist even in nice places because Korea does a really good job of hiding it. So on a main road, you'll see all of these nice businesses and all of these nice apartment complexes, and it looks shiny and new. But if you actually go behind these places, then you can see all of the older and low income and poorer neighborhoods. So now that you guys have a feel for like the area that I live in, I'm going to talk about why some of the places around my house are quite dangerous. I'm sure you've heard other YouTubers mention this, but like driving on the roads here or even crossing the road here can be quite dangerous. And there's quite an dangerous intersection right in front of my house. One time when I was walking Honey, if I had been 5 seconds faster, it would have been me who was hit and not the girl in front of me. So there was a girl who was walking behind me who I guess I wasn't walking fast enough for her. She went around me and then crossed the street, but also there was this guy who was driving who wasn't paying attention and he hit her. And he ran over her foot and he broke her foot, and I saw the bones protruding from her foot, and it wasn't pretty. Also, that intersection, even though there's like a stoplight that has like a blinking yellow light to tell people to slow down, people don't care. They will still stop over the pedestrian walkway, and that makes it dangerous for me crossing the road, because if they're stopped over the pedestrian walkway, then I have to go around the car and then look from behind another car to see if there are cars coming the other way. Going off of the streets being dangerous, I've also been hit by a car here, which resulted in a knee injury and me not being able to walk properly for a month and a half. I'm just not very thrilled with the way that the roads are here and how careless people drive here. It's just really upsetting. Also, there are a bunch of Japanese-inspired sashimi restaurants in front of my house, and there's CCTVs all along there, and there are signs all along there that says "Gumyeon," which means no smoking. But people just don't care. In Hanam, they're really ratchet. They smoke in front of there, and it's disgusting. And the reason why I keep walking in front of there is because there's a sidewalk there. So to avoid walking on the street and potentially getting hit by a car, I choose to walk there, but then all these people are smoking, and I've seen cops pass by and they don't do anything either. It's really, really frustrating. So again, with these sashimi restaurants, people get really, really, really drunk, and sometimes they have like theatrics out in the middle of the street. Probably the most unnerving thing I've seen, and I've never talked about it publicly until now, is that I saw a man in the street. And you may be asking, how do you know he's dead? Trust me, I knew he was dead. Honey smelled this man's body before I did. When I saw this man, he was passed out in front of one of those tubs where they have like inflatable balloons to like tell people to come to the businesses. He was passed out there, and I thought he was passed out there, but then I looked at his chest and his chest wasn't breathing, and he was tinged kind of green. Now, when people pass away, they turn kind of greenish, but when people are alive, you know, we're a little bit pink because of the blood that's going through our body. And then I turned my attention to another man who was calling an ambulance, and the paramedics asked him to put his hand in front of this man's mouth, and they asked him if he was breathing, and I heard him distinctly say, "He's not breathing." It was really, really unsettling for me because I've never seen anything like that. It really solidified my decision to leave Korea. This was last summer that I saw this. In this area, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are mentally ill, offenders. There's people who have very low incomes that live here. People have screamed at me. People have chased me. People have called the cops on me for no other reason because I'm the foreign scum walking the dog around the neighborhood. It makes me feel that just by existing, I'm a criminal, and that I am unworthy of dignity and respect. And that's another big reason I had to get out of Korea. Now, like I said, even though I've been living here in this area for 4.5 years, it's not like these things just started overnight. No, they didn't. I had a Korean boyfriend for a little while, but once people stopped seeing him around and they saw me alone, that's when this kind of behavior started to happen, because I am a foreign woman, I'm single, I'm unmarried, and I live alone, which makes me a very easy target. I also truly believe that this pandemic here has made it 10 times worse. So people were already crappy before, but like they really turned up the notch. And obviously poorer neighborhoods get hit harder. There are so many businesses that went under because of the pandemic, and you can see it everywhere. Like every block I go on, there's at least like 4 or 5 businesses that have been put out. Also, before you guys start telling me, oh, why don't you just get pepper spray or fight them off? First of all, you are not allowed to have pepper spray here in Korea unless you register it. And also, there are hardly any self-defense laws in this country, and also there are very minimal laws to protect their women and children. So if they're barely protecting their own, what makes you think that they're going to protect me? I have a lot of videos of people doing really crappy things to me that I was able to capture. Sometimes I haven't been able to capture video because for me it was in my best interest to just run away and get away before these people actually got their hands on me. I'm going to show you one video of a woman. I was walking Honey one night quietly. You know, I had my headphones in, I had my mask on, I was quiet, so was Honey. We weren't bothering anybody. And then in Korea, because a lot of older people feel entitled to tell you what to do and how to live your life, this woman started shaking her finger in front of my face. Now, again, like I said, I can't defend myself. I didn't want to engage with this person because they weren't even worth the breath in my lungs to tell them to f off. So I just kept walking. But the problem is this woman was not satisfied with me just walking away and followed me. I'm going to play the clip for you so you can see what happened after I started to film her.
Get away from me, lady. Get away from me, psycho. Psycho.
Now, as you can see, this woman clearly felt entitled that she was right, but as soon as I took out my phone, then she ran away because she knew she was in the wrong. I hadn't done anything wrong and neither had my dog. So the second video I'm going to show is of a man, and this was on December 23rd, 2020, and this man, I heard him swearing and stamping his feet, and I thought that perhaps this man was drunk and he had fallen and that's why he was swearing up a storm and stamping his feet. But then I heard, yeah, 외국인, like telling me all of these horrible things. I didn't even do anything to this man. Like, I was at least like 20 feet away from him when he started picking a fight with me, and thank God there was a fence separating me and this man, because I don't know what would have happened if he like had easy access to me. So I heard this man, you know, swearing at me, stamping his feet, and then he kept following me. And that's the part that really upsets me about people here, is that they just follow you, and it makes me feel really uncomfortable. It's like, obviously I'm ignoring you, I'm trying not to engage with you, so off. But they don't care here because they believe that they're right and that they're entitled to scream at you and do these things to you. So let me play the clip after I started filming him.
Right now I'm walking my dog and there's this guy who has been following me. I don't know what his malfunction is. He's literally stalking me and my dog. He's right there. I don't know why he's doing this. Do you have a problem, sir? What is your problem? I'm walking right now with Honey. I don't know where that guy went. He just started like stamping his feet and screaming like, there, oh my God, there he is.
So you can see once I started filming him, he started hiding behind the banner because obviously he knew he was in the wrong. This kind of behavior is not okay in Korea, it's not okay in America, it's not okay anywhere. And also, I have a stalker here, and the reason why I haven't gone to the police is because I haven't gotten a video of him, unfortunately. So the first time I encountered this man, and he's a big man. He's about 5 or 6 inches taller than me. He wears glasses, his teeth are f***ed up, and he's kind of stockier for a Korean. Now, at first, I thought that perhaps he was mentally ill, but I think he's just a freak. The first time I encountered him, I was at a busy intersection. I was trying to cross the street. I was walking Honey, and I had my headphones in, and he starts yelling, "Hi, hi, hello, hello," and I'm just ignoring him because I do not want to engage him. Obviously, if he's yelling these things at me, like not even talking to me like a normal human. So I start walking and I feel like he's following me because, you know, you just get those gut instincts. So I turned around and started walking the other way, and he also turned around and started following me. But the thing is once I took out my phone to start filming him, he ran away. Now, the second time he did this to me was when I was very, very close to my house. I was in front of those sashimi restaurants like I told you, and he was following me from the street. And I know he doesn't live in that area. So I stopped walking, just stopped dead in my tracks because it was a little too close for comfort. And then I tried calling my friends, none of them picked up the phone. So I pretended to call the police. I was like, 경찰 있어요, stalker예요, 빨리 해주세요. And as soon as he heard me pretending to call the police, he ran away. Now the third time he did this to me, and see the thing is I never see him coming because he comes up from behind me like a freak that he is. And again, same thing, following me, and then when I take out my phone to try and film him, he runs away. People think that Korea is so safe, and I can tell you that crime happens here just like any place else in the world. This area is one of the worst areas I've ever lived in my life. I've gotten my phone stolen. I've gotten money stolen. I was on the bus here and I fell asleep and some jerk stole my tripod from the bus. So I just want to say that I'm really, really grateful that I'm leaving South Korea and that I'm going back to my country where I am treated with more dignity and respect because I'm just like everybody else. I'm American. That gives me comfort. Sorry guys, this is just really emotional for me to do this video because it feels a bit vindicating and it also makes me a bit upset that I had to go through these things. The thing is, in Hanam City, I had no friends, no family, just myself. I was on my own to fend for myself come hell or high water. And I don't ever want to be in a situation like that ever again. I just wanted to share with you guys that a lot of people share the good about Korea, but they don't share the downsides of Korea and the very real and discrimination that people like me experience in conservative areas. And also, like I said, being a foreign woman really gave me the brunt of it. Like I said, it's really vindicating to be able to tell my story, to be able to tell you guys what to look out for, the darker sides of Korea, and how to just keep yourself in general safe. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to me talk about the reality of the situation that I was living in and why it was so dangerous and why I'm really grateful and happy to be out of that situation and be in a safer environment for my own peace, mental health, well-being, and sanity. But if you like this video and you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Instagram where all the good stuff goes down. As you guys know, I am a travel blogger, but I am real and honest about my experiences, good or bad, which I can share with you guys because you guys aren't just followers or subscribers. We're all a community here. We're all friends here. And thank you again. Gina Bear, signing out.